welcome to this week's show. This week, I want to mention about last week's show. That chap Lustig, Victor Lustig, he was a con man. He knew several languages. He was born in Bohemia, and he was a master con man. It's a very true story. And how did he do it? How did he pull it all off? Basically, of course, it was by using the scrap dealer's imagination, wasn't it? And their greed, really. And their greed, which tapped into their imagination. And the imagination is a fascinating thing. Humans supposedly developed imagination around 40,000 years ago, which differentiated us from other animals. It gave us the ability to make tools, to think ahead, plan what to do, how to hunt, etc. And we can see that. There is archaeological evidence of not just tools, but tools made with aesthetic qualities, beautiful flint arrowheads and so forth. The art in the caves, for example, in the south of France. And yeah, we can see that the flourishing of the human imagination certainly contributed to a bit of a leap in the evolution of mankind. So, yeah, what's that got to do with a con man? Well, of course it's got everything to do with a con man, because that's what a con man's tool is, really. Yeah, I thought it would be interesting to sort of this week talk a little bit about the imagination. Well, there's two you can separate the imagination into learning imagination and creative imagination. Learning imagination is, of course, everything you need to learn with. So, for example, sounds and symbols and abstract ideas, right? And then the creative imagination in order to innovate and create and invent things, right? So we've got the kind of two distinct functions of the imagination. And, yeah, the question is, what is real and what is not? Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Because the Buddhists believe in Maya, which sort of in a very basic way suggests that the whole world is illusion. So what most people term as reality, they suggest is actually an illusion, kind of like a dream. And the Aborigines on the other extreme give as much validity to dream time as they do to reality. So they don't really see one as more real than the other. So it's all very interesting, isn't it? Because a con man uses the imagination of those he is conning to pull off his trick. And how then are we best to equip ourselves so that we aren't conned and fooled like the scrap dealers in Paris in 1925? Well, I don't know. I have some sort of suggestion. Anyway, this is just my own sort of take on it. Was that we sort of have a look and make up our own minds about what actually constitutes the world, you know. And perhaps in terms of being conned, or sort of being able to discern when someone is conning it, is about looking at the sort of material world and the immaterial world, and seeing when they're actually, where do they separate. And you know, that might sound like a fairly simplistic kind of exercise, but is it? For example, if I show you this, right, can you see that there? Now, and I ask you, what is it? Now, you probably say, straight off, it's a carrot. Right? But is it a carrot? I'll have another look. There you go. Looks like one, you're saying? Well, you're kind of right. It kind of is, but then it isn't. No, it's not at all. It's not a carrot. It can't be a carrot because a carrot's a word. And that's the thing, you see. We tend to get the world of words mixed up with the world of the physical world. And that's how our imagination gets all kind of twisted in knots, so to speak. So in actual fact, all you're seeing there really is an orange fleshy thing, right? If you like. You're not seeing a carrot at all, because a carrot is where An orange fleshy thing is kind of it's a sentence in itself, but we have to use words in order to communicate this idea. So, but it's not a carrot. A carrot is a word, and if you can remember that, right, that's a fairly simplistic concept. You can start to see how confused we get about things, and you can start to look at the world in a different way. Because that isn't it? It's really about words, and you know, when we see like this orange fleshy thing, and we notice, we say to ourselves, it's a carrot, right? Immediately, all sorts of things spring to mind that are associated with carrots to do with our past experiences. So, for example, most likely we've eaten a carrot in our life, so we sort of get a memory of how they taste. Perhaps we've had a rotten carrot past or something. Well, perhaps we don't like carrots at all. Perhaps when we're very young, someone hit us over the head with a carrot, so we kind of have traumatic, fairly traumatic memories. I don't know, but who knows? Perhaps we were raised on a carrot farm or something. But what I'm saying is, when one uses a word, the problem is that your memory goes back to not just prior associations, but associations that perhaps other people could have told you. For example, if you've never eaten a carrot and someone said that carrots taste like battery acid, then perhaps you would associate it with something not so good. Now, the other thing to remember about the imagination is that our perception is clouded by what we believe in, what our expectations are, and of course what we want and need from the world. So, for example, if we're really hungry and we have a bag of carrots at home, and someone has told us that carrots can be eaten and they're not poisonous or anything, we're quite likely to see them as so and therefore eat them. Same with the scrap dealers who went to the meeting with Victor Lustig and were conned into thinking they would get it for scrap metal. They were, of course, out for themselves for the money. They wanted to make a lot of money and become famous as the man who got to take down the Eiffel Tower for scrap metal. So it was kind of a case of seeing what they wanted to see, and of course Victor Lustig knew that and played on that with the use of their imagination. So anyway, that's this week's show. Thanks for watching. I think leading on from the show, it might be the thing to do next week, something about dreams, something interesting about dreams, I think. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching this show. Please rate it, even better subscribe if you haven't. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next week. Bye.